Crystal, how long has it been since you and I have done an interview, do you think?
It's been a while. I can, to be honest, I can't. Time is just flying right by, and I'm just trying to keep up.
I'm thinking it could have been maybe the late 2000s.
Right? It could have been something like that for sure. I think it was one of my, I don't know, maybe it was like mid 2000s. I think it was like one of my first blues albums we did an interview.
Yes.
Yes, I think so. Just after I made the switch.
But before that, we were doing interviews like night and day for
For
straight up.
sure.
How is it that you don't age? Like what the hell?
Thank you. I appreciate that because I'm trying to hang in there without having to resort to, any kind of surgery or anything. Every night I do my skin routine. I tell my husband, I said, don't mind me, I'm pickling myself.
And I was just gonna ask you too, how's that great husband of yours doing?
Oh, he's doing fantastic. We're doing wonderful. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm so glad that we can finally catch up because we've got new music that we want to talk about. But let's go from the last time I talked to you to us talking. So we're talking like maybe 12, 15 years. What has been going on during all that time?
Oh, just staying busy on the road, writing, recording, trying to figure out who I am as a human being, as an artist, and trying things out and finding my way to, where I'm at right now, which is my new album. We've been writing songs for this album. It's been 4 years since my last album. We kind of took our time with this album, then we had a few hiccups, and life kind of just happened this past year, and so we had to kind of step back. I was supposed to release my album last year, but I decided to wait after the passing of my longtime agent and manager, Rob Patty. And I just wanted to take some time to grieve and mourn and remember my friend. And now here we are, carrying on with the journey and staying on the road. I have a little 8-year-old now, and she joins us on stage. She's actually a part of the show. She sings in the show and plays her little tambourine and dances her little heart out. So, I'm living the dream.
How tough has it been though? I mean, when we first met, I'm trying to think of you were considered country, correct?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
But then there was rock elements and there were soul elements and then you're going into the blues. How hard has it been for all those learning curves on who you are musically, while at the same time the industry itself is changing so much? I mean, when we were doing interviews, this was not
Yeah,
anything that anybody even thought of,
for sure.
and our phones were just our phones, and so much has changed. How did you develop through all of the technology and Spotify, and how did you go through all this? Plus, we got new artists always popping up and they're so good.
It's tricky for sure. You have to be resilient and you have to be determined. Fortunately for me, this is the only thing I'm good at, so I have to stick with it. But I love it so much. I've always said, whether I'm performing for 5 people or 5,000 people, I'm just grateful that I get to sing for a living. It's what I've always wanted to do. So I just roll with the punches, and it's all ebb and flow. The music business has always been ebb and flow. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Those of us artists who realize that, we're the ones who keep going, and the ones who don't realize that when things get bad or things get slow, they tend to give up and cash out, but those of us know that it's up and down constantly. So you just got to roll with the flow and wait gracefully for your turn. And that's all you can really do, And for me, I'm just always trying to learn from the people around me and learn from my friends in the industry. And, I'm always reaching out to people. Hey, how did you do this? Or how do I do this? Or what's with this? Teach me. I need to know in order for me to survive. I need to know what the new, terrain is. And so that's just what I've done. I'm always eager to learn. I don't know everything, and I'm the first one to say that. And so I'm a forever student. So I think that has helped me a lot, hang in there with the changes of the industry And the streaming changed everything. And you used to be able to make a lot more money in the music business, and
Oh,
now you have to figure out, how do we make our money? If we're not making it off of album sales and single sales. But you figure it out. If you're lucky, you'll figure it out.
you
So
know,
that's what I've been doing, is just figuring it out.
when we first met, you were the kid. Now you're the stateswoman. How does it feel when people are coming to you for advice or coming to you going, I got in this business because of you. I've done this because of you. How does that feel knowing that you are in that position now?
It's an amazing feeling. I'm always very, very happy to share what I know and what I've learned the hard way. And I always tell people when they come to me, I'm like, advice is free, mentorship is free. And, I would love to share with you so that you don't make all the mistakes that I made, or had to learn the hard way. And so I'm always happy to do that, because I wish somebody would have did that with me, because to be honest, I never really had any artist mentors. I had people in the industry who helped me a lot, producers and, publishers, and just people in the worker bees who work at record labels, who were always giving me advice. But I never really had an artist who took the time to answer my questions or give me really solid advice. I think I got one piece of advice one time, was like, just suck it up. I was like, okay.
Oh,
But
man.
I try to give a little bit more insightful advice than that. And I try to get pretty specific with the artists. And I look at their careers, where they want to go, where they've been. And then I give them advice where I came from. And then I give them advice of where I think they could really excel at. And it's pretty cool when, somebody actually takes my advice, and then I see them go further than they were before. It's such a satisfying feeling. Like, I don't do that for any money. That's just for the satisfaction of, yes, you deserve that space. You are good enough to be there, and I'm so happy to see you win.
Your husband is definitely your rock. I still remember the first interview we did. He was in the studio with us, and I'm asking questions. He didn't know me, I didn't know him, but I'm looking over the corner. I could tell he's paying attention, going, okay, he's asked the questions okay. That question's okay. I always kept thinking, if I ask the wrong question, look out. How does it feel knowing that you have that kind of support?
Yeah, I'm fearless because of it. Really, I am. You know, it's always been that way from the first time, we met, and the first show we ever played together. We started playing music together before we started dating. And from that first show, I went from being the singing tree who would sing with my eyes closed, to all of a sudden dancing all over the stage, stomping around, flipping my hair, because I knew he believed in me, because he told me that right from the very start. And I've always felt like, as long as he's clapping for me, I'm good. I'm just happy to be walking through this world with him and play music with him. And through it all, he's kind of like my Sam Wise, from the movie Lord of the Rings. It's like, when I'm too tired to walk anymore, he carries me. And that's the truth. I can honestly say I wouldn't still be going if it wasn't for him, because he just always, picks me back up and carries me till I can walk again on my own. And he always believes in me, never stops. And I think that's all you really need, is just one or a couple solid people to believe in you, so you could believe in yourself. And it really makes me fearless through everything, because I know at the end of the day, if it all went away, I still got my best friend right there.
When we first met, the first 2, 3 years, you were literally considered the next big thing in the Canadian industry in country music. Was that a
Yes.
lot of pressure back then?
It was definitely a lot of pressure. I was working with a lot of amazing people between RCA Records in America and Sony Music in Canada. And I knew how fortunate I was to be in that position. So, I didn't want to let anybody down. I wanted to meet everybody's expectations. And, throughout that time, I sort of lost my own voice, and forgot who I was, because I wanted to be what I thought everyone wanted me to be. I think that was the most difficult part for me. And then also a lot of pressures being the first Indigenous artist to do so many things and knowing that I'm representing. And I was reminded of that all the time. If I did something that was even just slightly risque, I would hear from it from my communities, and they would tell me, you're representing, you can't act that way, you can't do that, like Miranda Lambert, she could stand on the stage and hold up a beer and everybody's going to cheer. But if I hold up a beer on stage, everybody's going to speculate, "Oh, she's Indigenous, she has a drinking problem." And that was a real factor for me that I had to deal with. And it being in the country music industry where it's very alcohol oriented, it made it very difficult for me. That was one of the things I dealt with. So there was a lot of pressure from different directions. But at the end of the day, I realized that in order for me to have a good sleep at night, that I needed to get back to who I was, what my voice was artistically, what satisfied my spirit and my soul. And when I did that, that's when I really started to be happy, because back then there was all these amazing things happening, but each time something amazing would happen, I would be like, okay, what's next? Instead of enjoying the moment, right? And so now I'm at a place where I've learned to enjoy all those little moments.
Amen to that. So let's get into this moment. We have a new album coming
Yeah.
as we speak, coming out. But what is the name of the new
Yes.
album and how does it represent you in this point in your career?
The name of the album is called Sing Pretty Blues. And so the title was inspired, it's a song on the album, and it was inspired by a conversation I had with a photographer after a show of mine. And when you're out doing the circuit, you get to know all the photographers pretty good. And so after I was done, a photographer said to me, "Hey, Crystal, it was a fantastic show, great show. I think I got some good shots, but I don't know. It's kind of hard sometimes. You don't really sing pretty, so it's kind of hard to get a good shot sometimes." And at first, I was like, "What's that supposed to mean?" And I get it because I scrunch up my face a lot when I sing, And I could have took it either way, but I decided to take it as a compliment because he's right. I don't sing pretty. I work way too hard to sing pretty. When I'm on stage, I'm singing with every fiber of my being, because it's like I'm trying so hard to connect with my audience, and I want them to know that I know what this feels like. What I'm singing right now, I have lived these words and I made it through it. And if I made it through it, you can make it through it too, and healing isn't always pretty. It's messy, and so this song and really this whole album, from all the subjects and the song to the styles of the song, because there's blues, there's country soul, all of it accumulates this idea of, embracing all the parts of us, even the parts that aren't pretty.
Amen. Amen. Love the story. Love the story. Uh Tour. Is it going to happen for you in 2025? I know I maybe I shouldn't mention it, but I know there's a show that's coming up in Toronto because
Yes.
I was told I'm going to have two tickets for it. What's going to happen in the rest of 2025? Are you hitting the road?
Yes, we're definitely hitting the road. We're hitting a few festivals. I have some standalone shows on my own. We're out there promoting the album, and we're kind of kicking it all off with our show at Lula Lounge in Toronto on April 10th. And it's going to be an album release show. So basically, the whole tour, this whole spring and summer, it's new music, new show. So I'm really excited about it. And we'll be playing all the songs from the album. And, depending on the length of the shows throughout the tour, we'll interchange which songs we play on which nights. And we'll be listening to the fans. If there's a certain song from the album they want to hear and they request it, we'll definitely do it. And we're excited. I'm staying busy, but I'm also trying to create some balance for my 8-year-old daughter who's in dance class. So we're balancing all of that together. So I've had to say no to some shows because it's like, oh no, we got to make it back for her dance class. I'm trying to make her priorities a priority to me, and because this is an exciting time in her life as well. And so yeah, and homeschooling on the road, and I'm just excited to get back out there and see all my fans again.
How is your husband handling two women in one household?
Actually, he's got three. We got a little dog who's just as
Oh,
bossy as the rest of us.
oh man.
But he loves it. He says it all the time. He goes, "I live to serve you women." And
He
he loves
does.
it. I I always say on stage, I always say, everybody, for those of you that don't know, not only is D-Wayne my lovely guitar player, but he's my lovely husband, my chauffeur, my chef, my baby daddy, my scratch and post. Give him a round of applause. He does it all.
He He gave the best answer. That's the way you keep a marriage going.
That's
Crystal,
right.
it's so good to talk to you. Please tell him I said hello. Give the little one a big hug and congratulations on the new music. I'm going to be out there April 10th. So
Thank
we can
you.
see each other finally after all these years. So
It would,
congratulations.
it would be amazing to see you. Thanks so much for squeezing me in today. I really do appreciate you.